Welcome to another children's church. What are you looking at? What is that? Is that an elephant? No. Is that a giraffe? No. It's a hippopotamus. You know, God created all kinds of things. The birds, the trees, the land, all types of animals, you and me, and hippopotamuses. You know, or hippopotami. I don't know. Go ask your parents which is right. Hippopotamuses or hippopotami. That reminds me of a cool song that we can sing about hippopotamuses or hippopotami. It goes like this. In the beginning God made the sea, and the forest filled with trees, and the mountains up so high, and at the top he placed the sky. His fingerprints are everywhere, just to show how much he cares. And in the middle he had some fun, and made a hippo that weighs a ton. Hip, 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 hippopotamus, hip, hip, hooray, God made all us. Hip, 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 hippopotamus, hip, hip, hooray, God made all us. Wasn't that fun? You want to try that again? Maybe let's sing it a little bit faster. In the beginning God made the seas, and the forest filled with trees, and the mountains up so high, and at the top he placed the sky. His fingerprints are everywhere, just to show how much he cares. In the middle he had some fun, and made a hippo that weighed a ton. Hip, 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 hippopotamus, hip, hip, hooray, God made all us. Hip, 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 hippopotamus, hip, hip, hooray, God made all us. Whew, that's a cool song. I love hippopotamuses. They're so big and cool. You know, talk about being big. You know, our story today, I don't want to spoil it for you, but our story today is about somebody big and about somebody that's not so big, and how God uses him to show his power and that he is in control. And this little boy trusts in him. And then we see the results of what happens when we give our trust over to God and know that he has the power to conquer anything that comes our way. You know, there's a song about this little boy. Let's sing it together.
Only a boy named David, only a little slave. Only a boy named David, but he could play and sing. Only a boy named David, only a rippling brook. Only a boy named David, but 5 little stones he took. And 1 little stone went into the sling, and the sling went round and round. And 1 little stone went into the sling, and the sling went round and round. And round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And 1 little stone went into the air, and the jug came tumbling down. Only a boy named David, only a little slave. Only a boy named David, but he could play and sing. Only a boy named David, only a rippling brook. Only a boy named David, but 5 little stones he took. And 1 little stone went into the sling, and the sling went round and round. And 1 little stone went into the sling, and the sling went round and round. And round and round and round and round and round and round and round. And 1 little stone went into the air, and the jug came tumbling down. And 1 little stone went into the air, and the jug came tumbling down.
Hey guys and girls, it's Mr. Paul. Good to see you all. And guess what? It's time for our Bible story today. Today we're going to be talking about David and a giant. The story comes from 1 Samuel chapter 17. David is going to face a giant named Goliath. In the story today, The Philistines, enemies of God's people, and their army are fighting against the army of Israel. And David's brothers, 3 of them, are part of Saul's army, the army of Israel. And David's father's worried about his 3 sons, so he sends David to go check on them and take some food, some cheese and some bread, to his brothers and to their commander, and to be sure everything's okay. Well, as David arrives at the camp and delivers his food and completes the task that his father has given him, he immediately sees the other soldiers, is talking with them, and he hears a loud shout, a commotion, just somebody hollering at the top of their lungs. And he's running now to see what in the world is going on with all this shouting that's taking place. But when he looks to see who's making all the noise, he sees a giant. A man bigger and stronger than anything he's ever seen in his life. A man that's taller than anybody on either army side. Bigger than anybody in Israel's army. Bigger than anybody in the Philistine army. This guy, Goliath, is like 9 feet tall. He's almost as tall as a basketball goal. And he wore a set of armor, a huge set of armor. Metal armor to protect him when he was fighting. He had a huge sword that he carried. He even had a spear that was so big that he had to have help carrying it. And he's challenging the army of Israel. He's challenging the soldiers to come out and fight. To fight him. Send somebody out to fight me. And he's saying really bad things about God. He's insulting God. He's insulting King Saul. He's insulting the army of Israel. And none of the soldiers in the army of Israel will go out and fight him. They're scared. But David's not afraid. David is trusting God. The God who in Psalm 28:7 David wrote, "The Lord is my strength and my shield." He trusts God to care for him. He says, "I have fought bears and lions while I was protecting my father's sheep. God took care of me. God gave me the victory, and he'll do the same thing now. I'm not afraid of this giant." So the soldiers take David to see King Saul, because King Saul has to say it's okay for David to go out and fight this giant. And Saul's reluctant at first. He says, "I can't send a boy out to do a man's job." But none of the men were doing the job. So David says, "I can do this. I'm not afraid. Again, God has delivered me over and over again. And he'll do it against this giant." So Saul gives in and says, "Okay, David, I'll let you go. But you're going to have to wear some armor like the giant. Here, put my armor on. You can wear it to protect you. And here's my sword. You can take it." Well, David puts that armor on, and it's too big. Way too big. He's just a small boy. And he says, "I don't need that armor. I don't need the sword. I need God, and I know he'll take care of me." So he takes off the armor, puts his trust in God, and he heads for the fight. Go out to challenge Goliath and take up Goliath's challenge to fight him. On his way there, he bends down and he picks up 5 smooth stones and he puts them in a pouch that he's carrying, because David's got his sling. The sling to throw the stones with. That's what he's fought the bears and the lions with. It's what he's going to use to fight Goliath. Well, as he comes out and heads towards Goliath, Goliath sees him and he says, "What is this? You soldiers of Israel are sending out this boy, this small boy to fight me? I will crush him." And he begins to continues talking bad about the soldiers of Israel and about God. Well, David steps right up, grabs one stone out of his pouch and puts it in his sling, and he begins to spin it and spin it and spin it, and he lets it go. He fires it straight at Goliath while Goliath is busy bad-mouthing everybody and not paying attention. And that stone hits Goliath right square in the forehead, and bang, he goes down. and hits the ground. And David comes over, takes Goliath's own sword. And this is kind of yuck, but takes his own sword and cuts his head off. The Philistine army sees their giant go down, the man who's defeated everybody he's ever fought against till he came up against the boy David, who was being helped by God. And they are scared to death, and they take off running everywhere. Well, God has helped David win a great battle. He's helped the Israelite army win a great battle, and it was a great day for all of them. This picture kind of shows a little bit, if you can see it, of what somebody thinks it looked like. The giant Goliath against David. And David said, "The Lord is my strength and my shield. I'll put my trust in him." David knew that God was bigger than Goliath, stronger than Goliath. And when you face giants in your life, things that are so big, you think, there's no way I can defeat it. Well, you can't by yourself, but you can with the help of God. Put your trust in him, your faith in him. He will be your strength and your shield. And he will help you defeat your giants as well. Remember, God loves you. We love you. Keep your faith and your trust in him. And live like David, having a heart after God. Hope to see you again soon. And hope you enjoyed today's story. Love you all. Bye-bye.
Hey kids, how are you doing this week? We sure have been missing y'all here at the church, but here we are. We're back in your classroom. Isn't that cool? It's kind of like you're here, even though you're not here. Now, I know that little Jimmy was supposed to be here, but I can't find him anywhere. I have looked everywhere for him. Do you know where he might be? Oh, you think he might be under these covers? I didn't even think to look there. You're so smart. Thank you. Little Jimmy, are you under those covers? No. Little Jimmy, are you under those covers? No, I'm not underneath those covers. Little Jimmy, you're so silly. I can't believe you did that. Why were you under those covers, little Jimmy?
Well, I'm afraid because, well, I was playing with my slingshot, like David and David and Goliath's story.
Yeah.
And, well, I knocked over my juice box and knocked juice everywhere. And then my mom came in and said, "Did you do that, little Jay?" And I said, "No, it was the cat. The cat did it." And she said, "Don't lie about that kind of stuff because if you lie, your pants might catch on fire." And so I ran away. I've been hiding underneath the blanket.
But because you were afraid that your pants would catch on fire?
Yeah.
Well, little Jimmy, your mom didn't really mean your pants would catch on fire. She's just trying to tell you not to tell lies anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, tell me, why were you playing with the slingshot in the first place?
Because I want to be like David and be brave and he fought Goliath with a slingshot. And he wasn't even afraid, and he was fighting a giant. Why wasn't he afraid?
So you are you saying that you still get afraid sometimes, little Jimmy?
Yeah, I get afraid.
Okay. Well, David, the main reason David wasn't afraid was because he knew that God was on his side. But here's another thing about what makes us afraid is usually the thing that we're afraid of is not anything to be scared of at all. Let me give you an example. Like, have you ever thought there was something under your bed?
Yeah, like a monster?
Yeah, you ever thought there was a monster under your bed?
Yeah.
Was there ever? Have you ever found a monster under your bed?
No. One time I said, "There's a monster in my bed," and my dad came and looked under the bed, and there was no monster.
Yeah. So your dad came and looked, and when your dad looked under there was no monster. Were you afraid when your dad came in the room?
No.
Yeah. You see, our dad kind of makes us feel the way that God made David feel. When our dad is around, we're not afraid. And when God is around, we don't have to be afraid either. What about your closet? Have you ever thought that there was something hiding in your closet before?
Yeah, I thought there was a ghost in my closet one time.
You did?
Yeah.
Well, did you check? Was there a ghost in there?
No, it was just
Oh, so there again, right? You thought you were afraid of what was in your closet, but then when you opened the closet, there wasn't anything to be afraid of. So most of the time, little Jimmy, what we're afraid of is not anything to be afraid of at all. But here's the thing, when you're afraid, you have to have courage. Do you know what courage is, little Jimmy?
I know what courage is. It's when you're not afraid.
Well, no, not exactly. Because sometimes we're afraid, and we can still have courage when we're afraid. Because courage is when we do the right thing, even though we're still scared.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, like when your dad came in the room, he made you less afraid. But were you still a little bit afraid?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. So you were a little bit afraid, but you were able to look under the bed with your dad because you had courage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so even though you were afraid, you still looked under the bed. So here's the thing, though, little Jimmy, is that when you have courage, you do the right thing, even though you are afraid. And you know what happens?
What?
The more times you do it, the less afraid you are. So every time you look under the bed and there's no monster there, you become less afraid to look under the bed. Every time you look into the closet and there's not a ghost in the closet, you get less afraid to look in the closet.
But, Mr. Grant, I think I should go tell my mom the truth and have courage, but I'm still a little afraid.
Well, little Jimmy, it's okay to still be afraid a little. But still, even though you're afraid, when you have your courage, it's when you do the right thing, even though you're still afraid. So that's one, right? You may still be afraid, but we're still going to do the right thing. Now, the second thing you can do is pray and ask God for courage. Because remember what happened when your dad came in to the room? How did you feel when your dad came into the room and looked under the bed for you?
It made me feel safe.
Yeah, and when you pray, that means you're inviting God, and God will make you feel safe too. That's how God made David feel safe. That's how God gave David courage.
So when we're afraid, we can pray.
Yeah, that's right. When we're afraid, we can pray, and then we do the right thing even if we're still afraid. And you know what? The more times you do the right thing, the less afraid you'll be. So what are you going to do now, little Jimmy?
Well, I think the brave thing to do, the right thing would be to go tell my mom the truth.
Yeah, little Jimmy, I'm so proud of you. Here's the thing. Remember to have your courage, which means doing the right thing, even if you're still afraid, and pray. And then God will be with you and give you the courage that you need to do the right thing. And you know, your mom still might be a little bit upset with you, but she's going to be a lot happier with you because you told the truth than if she found out that you lied. So Jimmy, I'm real proud of you, and God is proud of you because you're doing the right thing.
Okay, I'm gonna go talk to my mom right now.
Okay. Bye, little Jimmy. Hey, kids, tell little Jimmy bye.
Bye.
Well, kids, it was good to see you again this week. Man, that little Jimmy, he sure knows how to get himself into trouble sometimes, but he's a good boy. And I know all of you are good little boys and girls too. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Y'all have a great day, great week, and God bless.
And the sling went round and round, and the sling went round and round. Sorry, I was still singing that song. David and Goliath. The sling went round and round. David threw that rock right, hit Goliath right in the forehead. Down went Goliath. David saved the day. Oh, what a great story. Grant and Timmy, you guys behave yourselves.
Hey guys, it's Sissy. I'm so glad to be here with you today. I know that you just heard a great story about David and Goliath, and I thought we might make a craft together so that you would be able to tell the story yourself. So what I want you to start with, you should have a paper similar to this. It's got David's pouch on it. It's got cutouts that resemble rocks. Remember, David had 5 smooth stones. So we want to color all of this. Color it any color you want to. We don't know what color David's pouch was, so you just color it any color that you like. One thing to remember when you are working with cutouts is if you go out of the lines, it's okay, because when you cut it out, you're going to cut all that off. So color that up, and then you want to take your scissors, and we're going to cut those out. Cut out each rock, cut out your pouch. If you need some help with scissors, it's okay to ask. So get somebody to help you with your scissors. So once you finish that, you should have a paper sack. It's just a regular lunch bag. So you want to take your sack and you're going to cut off 3 or 4 inches, and you're just going to cut it all the way across. I've already done mine, so I'll show you. Then it becomes just a little short bag. So you've cut that out. So now you take your pouch. I colored mine brown. It's okay, doesn't matter what color you use. Take your pouch, turn it over, get your glue stick. And you want to just run that glue stick all over the back of your pouch. I love glue sticks, they're just so fun. So work that around. Put the top back on your glue stick, they'll dry out. Then take your pouch, take your paper sack, and put your the pouch that you've colored right on the front of that sack. Kind of mash it down a little bit, and then you have your pouch similar to David's. So then in your pouch you need your rocks. So our first rock is going to remind us of David. David was the guy who killed Goliath, so put him in there. Then you've got to include Obed Goliath, so put him in. Then you have your 5 smooth stones, but remember it only took 1. Put those in your pouch. Then you have the slingshot that David used to sling that 1 rock at Goliath's head. Put that in as a remembrance. And then the last one is going to be a little memory verse that you can learn, and it says, "The Lord is my strength and my shield," and that comes from Psalms 28:7. And that's just a reminder that God gives us strength on those days when I say, oh, I just can't do it. God gives us strength to do things, and He is our shield. He protects us. So put that in as a reminder to you. And so now you have your pouch, similar to David, with your 5 smooth stones in there. And now you're ready to go and tell the story to your friends, to your parents, especially to us grandparents, and tell them the story about David and Goliath and how God helped David. Guys, I'm so glad to have been here today. I miss you a bunch. I hope that when we get back to the church building, that you'll look for me and that you'll tell me this story in your words. I would love to hear it straight from you. I hope you have a great week. Sissy loves you a bunch. Can't wait to see you soon. Bye.
Oh man, what a great children's church. I hate that it has to end. Ooh. What's that? We can do this again? We can do another one next week? All right, that sounds great. So excited. We'll see you next time. Bye.